Thank you for joining me for today's video walkthrough. I'm going to show you how easy and simple it is to administer WorkPro's bankruptcy checking service. Logging in as an administrator, the first thing you're going to do is send a request to a candidate. So you can do this a couple of ways. You can send a single request to one candidate, or you can send a bankruptcy check to many candidates at once. So sending a request to a new candidate or sending a bulk request. So one candidate, entering the candidate's name and email address, background checks, choosing bankruptcy check, and then you're sending the request. Once you've sent the request, the candidate will receive an email invitation which contains instructions, a live link, and what we call a single-use token. Once you've sent that request, our system will take over and it will start automating reminders to that candidate should that task remain outstanding. So we send 3 reminders 3 days apart. You'll also be able to see in your dashboard the status. So once you've sent the request, it will say request sent. That status can show in the dashboard until the candidate logs into the system and enters that single-use token. Once that happens, the status will update automatically. So the candidate logs in or they sign up. So they're signing up here, or they're logging in with an existing WorkPro username and password. Logging into the platform, entering the token which is contained in the email invitation, selecting background checks, and starting the bankruptcy check. So you can see here they're invited to add personal information or enter personal information, birth details, and any addresses. And they're in Australia, overseas. So WorkPro offers bankruptcy checks both nationally and internationally. Selecting next, the candidate is required to upload a government-issued photo ID. So let me just grab a pic. Do that, you can see the tick the box. WorkPro can be completed on any device, so depending on the device, it will automatically show up either as a camera as an example, or on this laptop it will show where your pictures are stored, or open a file library. Electronic signature, and then the candidate is submitting that check. So once the candidate has completed that application, that will then be stored in their digital profile here, and it will show as a status of in progress. So logging out, you've now received your email alert letting you know that the bankruptcy check is ready to be processed if and when you need it. You're logging back into the platform. You are opening up the check. And you can see here, in this case, waiting on candidate. I didn't submit that one. Let's go to background checks and let me choose bankruptcy check. So really very handy filtering function. See here, please review. That means that the application has been completed by the candidate and is ready to be processed. You'll see here that this person only has an Australian address, so you can see the price here. If they had multiple addresses and they lived in different countries, that information would be displayed here along with the cost of the bankruptcy check in that country, so that you know exactly what that cost is involved. Once you're ready to go, you can then view that the consent form has been dated correctly and matches the signature on the government-issued photo ID, so viewing both of those, and then you're submitting that check. So once you've submitted the check, that will the status will change to in progress. It will just be entered into an official database for verification. Once that's been returned, and the turnaround time does depend on the country that you're doing the bankruptcy check. So once that has been returned, you'll receive an email alert and the status will change in your dashboard. You'll log back in here, you're searching for your candidate, and then you're viewing the report. Each report will be stored in WorkPro permanently, so you have a permanent record which is date and time stamped of the date that you ran that bankruptcy check. You'll be invoiced monthly in arrears for any checks or probity checks that you've completed during that month. That concludes today's little video walkthrough. I hope you found it useful. Naturally, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us on 1300 975 776 or info@workpro.com.au. Thank you.